Welcome to the Averils of Chipping Norton, Ipswich and beyond. Lives Recast, video number 9. John Averill, From Twin Birth to Town Steward. John Averill was one of the resulting twins of Hannah Averill's third pregnancy. He and his twin brother Job were born in Topsfield on the 1st of January, 1666-67 Old Style, entering a tightly knit community where family, land, and civic duty were deeply intertwined. As an adult, John built his life firmly within Topsfield. On the 8th of June, 1710, he married Anne Greenslit, and together they had at least 4 children who were all placed under the guardianship of his distant cousin, John Wilds, after John Averill's death in 1720, though Anne was still alive. A charge in the administration to John Averill's estate after his death indicated that the Averills owed for, and I quote, bringing up 4 children all under the age of 6, end quote. One might assume these charges were to be paid to John Wilds, and though this is only speculation on my part right now, it could be that the children remained with Anne, but John Wilds took charge of any legal and inheritance decisions for them, if need be, until they became of age. John partook of an extensive economic and civic life beyond his immediate household. Along with his brother Nathaniel, John went in on the purchase of 200 acres of the Simon Bradstreet grant, land that, as discussed in the previous video, became known as the colleges. Pictured here is the original deed, which is linked with the proper source in the description of the full video. As also previously noted, the property was located in what is now the Ipswich River Wildlife Sanctuary at 87 Perkins Row. Recent discoveries show that John and Nathaniel paid a substantial sum of £250 for this tract of land, amplifying the brothers' financial standing and long-term investment in the region. In addition, they inherited an existing tenant by the name of John Hawkins. With the building of the sawmill shortly after, their land was met by visitors who needed timber cut for various necessary projects. John and Nathaniel subscribed to a newspaper, an uncommon practice in the early 18th century farm communities. This likely made them among the first of their family and neighbors to receive regular news from outside Topsfield. It is easy to imagine curious townspeople stopping by, delivering or cutting their wood to hear the latest reports. That shared access to knowledge explains why the settlement earned the enduring name, the colleges. This sharing of information was apparently passed down through the Averill children and neighbors, which resulted in a strong community within the larger town itself. John also served the town of Topsfield in numerous capacities. In 1692, he acted as a fence viewer, responsible for monitoring livestock boundaries and ensuring that horses belonging to inhabitants did not wander onto the common lands. He later served as a tithing man in 1701 and was entrusted with overseeing the preservation of timber along the south side of the Ipswich River, bordering what was then Salem Village and is today Danvers. John was chosen to serve as constable in 1709 and again in 1711, a position that carried significant responsibility and authority. His only recorded committee service alongside his cousin, Ephraim Wilds, occurred in 1709 when both men were selected as fence viewers, highlighting how family networks often intersected with civic governance in colonial Topsfield. John died in 1720 without a will. Administration of his estate did not pass to his widow until 1724, suggesting delays that point to legal, financial, or familial complexities. However, the return of the inventory tells us that John and Anne were worth about £827. They had about 100 acres of land, some which was along Mile Brook, that included a meadow, pasture, and an orchard. Their household items included books, bedding, bedstead, cupboard, chest, and farming utensils. Together, these details portray John Averill as a man deeply embedded in the civic, economic, and intellectual life of colonial Topsfield, his legacy shaped not only by land and service, but by the flow of knowledge that helped define an entire neighborhood. Please refer to my short video pinned in the comments for information on how to donate to my ongoing research. Thank you for listening, and stay tuned for next week's Averills of Chipping Norton, Ipswich and Beyond Lives Recast, when I will recap the first 9 videos and add in some new information. My sources for today's video are linked in the description of the full-length video. Thank you.